Greetings, Stellarisians! Patch 3.9 is here, and it's one of the biggest patches we've had for a while. There's a lot to discuss, and there are quite a lot of changes, but I'm going to focus the video on the things that I'm most excited about. First up, let's talk about Plantoids. Invasive Species is the best trait in the game, bar none. This trait is absolutely ridiculous, and building around it will supplant every other bio build in the game. I take something like this. This gives you the pop growth speed of budding, which bear in mind is better than rapid breeders on any planet with more than 15 pops, and on top of that you get 15% pop growth speed from invasive species and 15% habitability. Habitability translates to even more growth speed, more resources from jobs, and less amenities usage. In return, these three negative traits do barely anything. This is just the most efficient pop you can design in the game right now. Now, budding doesn't stack with the types of pop assembly other than bio, so if you plan to make machines, you'll want to drop it and take another negative trait. But that setup is actually extremely efficient in machine empires too. This is my trait setup for a rogue servitor's bio trophies, and these negative traits only affect things which bio trophies do not do. In other words, this setup is plus 20% habitability and plus 20% growth speed with no downside at all. I'd go as far as to say that this trait is even more overpowered than the original 1 point cost aquatic. And speaking of overpowered, let's talk about Necromancy. This is a new machine ascension perk which you can even take as your very first ascension perk, and it is bonkers. Here is a determined exterminator game I started to test it out. As you can see, my snowball is going strong, it's 22-32 and I've already eaten one empire and I'm finishing off another. I'm gaining a pretty respectable 77 energy from purging pops on this one planet, and more are being purged elsewhere. But, unlike before, these pops are now usable afterwards. Yes, they get minus 25% resources from jobs, can only work simple drone jobs, and can't grow anywhere. But they're still pops. Pops are power. Pops are economy. Driven Assimilator was the only Total War empire up until now which can make use of all the other conquered pops. But now, Determined Exterminators get to be like Driven Assimilator while enjoying the incredible buffs that Determined Exterminator provides. But while this is certainly best for Determined Exterminator, it's also going to be very useful for regular machine builds as well. You can now actually make use of conquered biopops. This is a huge buff to machines, and to top it all off, the damage buffs on the perk are pretty good too. Next up, the Habitat and Void Dwellers rework. The full extent of this rework is beyond the scope of this video to get into, but I will say this, it is strong. The accessibility of lots of research jobs is reminiscent of old pre-nerf Shattered Ring, if you remember that. Here in this game you can see I've done the usual leader shenanigans and gotten myself a fantastic start. It's year 12 and I'm already on 655 research. This is incredibly quick. But why stop here? 1k research in year 21, 2k research in year 30. Granted, this is pretty memey on my economy, but the leaders gave me such a healthy stockpile I can afford to do this until I can get a vassal to pick up the cost. And this has plenty more room to scale. I haven't even come close to filling up my biggest research habitat. This origin is absolutely nuts, particularly in the hands for hive mind, synergizing quite nicely with the new Void Hive Civic. And last, but by no means least, my favourite change of all. Unlocking your ascension paths is no longer RNG. No longer will you sit and wait forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever for Psionic Theory to pop up. You can now start the path with your third ascension perk guaranteed every time. Do note, this does slow down every ascension path other than synthetic, which is a pretty good indirect buff to synthetic ascension. So what are your favourite features of 3.9? Let me know in the comments down below. I look forward to playing with you, just as soon as I can correctly guess the password to your lobby.